international art space. So thank you.
Okay, I don't usually like to read, but I think it's probably more time effective if I stick to what I wrote, otherwise I'll go on and on. First of all, let me say it is great to be here tonight to celebrate Helena's return to full-time art making, full-time coming. And this impressive, and celebrate this impressive and very cohesive exhibition. I've known Helena for many years and greatly appreciated her contribution, the contribution she made as a long-standing board member of the organization around the International Art Space. Her role was especially important during the crucial transition period when we decided to expand our operation from our original base in Calaveras to the whole region of Western Australia. As I mentioned, this is a cohesive body of work that focuses on the relationship, both actual and metaphorical, between the built environment and the individual and collective lives of those who inhabit it. The emphasis is often on the transience of the building we construct, not only to protect ourselves, but also to represent and celebrate our values and ways of lives. The cardboard towers are a perfect example of the symbolic overreach and intrinsic fragility of monumental architecture. They are structured both hubristic and fragile, some of which crumble at the base at the reach for the sky, while others are precariously balanced on insecure foundations. And of course, the material of which they are made is blatantly unsuited to the monumental, being instead typical of disposable makeshift shelters, cardboard. What we have here is the deliberate and literal monumental irony, but also a fantastic and capricious imaginative excess. One is reminded, for example, of wildly hubristic vertical architecture, other vertical architecture, such, for example, the spires of Gaudi Sagrada Familia, or Simone Rodia extraordinary Watts Towers near Los Angeles. If the towers seem to verge on the on the verge of collapse, the larger works on paper depict the result of this anticipated architectural disaster. Here we find ruins combined with human bodies in composition that seem to quote cubist and surrealist sources. It is as if Ferdinand Leger's utopian fusion of a human body and the modern mechanized metropolis had collapsed under the weight of its excessively optimistic expectations. Of course, we live at a time when utopian optimism is increasingly difficult to sustain. Our screens are full of images of destruction that constantly remind us of the ephemerality of life and what we call civilization. Despite, or maybe because of this, ruins have their own melancholy beauty. In the 18th century, artistic depiction of ruins became very popular. And even today, we often relish the filmic or literary representation of post-apocalyptic worlds. A whole genre of science fiction narrative draws inspiration from our fascination with the ruins of the future, as opposed to the ruins of the past that so enthralled the early romantic poets and painters. However, it would be a mistake to look at this phenomenon in a negative light. Not only is coming to terms with the transience a very positive process, but one should also bear in mind that in architecture, the idea of deconstruction is close, or the idea of destruction is close to that of deconstruction. Jacques Derrida called this methodology deconstruction with reference to Martin Heidegger's concept of the destruction of metaphysics, which for him was a necessary and positive process. And in 1970, Derrida's ideas of deconstruction spawned a whole new movement of deconstructive architecture, of which American architect Peyton Eastman is the main representative. While this is not the occasion to elaborate on deconstruction, thank God for that, but just let me make a point. Just let me point out that one of the core aspects of this methodology of deconstruction is to create new by taking apart the old in such a way that the relics of the past are turned into the foundation of the future. In Helena's work, too, we encounter a process of creative destruction, through which ruins become, to paraphrase Derrida's again, witnesses to the work of mourning and the building blocks of new beginnings. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Marcon.
Yes.
All right. Thank you for coming, everybody.
Sorry about the accent. It's much worse when I read it when I speak.
So this is my first show in Perth, and it's been a bit of a journey for me to get here. I hadn't been working as a full-time artist for 25 years, and this has been the work that I have done in the last 3 years to find myself here as an artist. And I'm pleased that you've come here to share it with me. Thank you.
Very good.